ownership of the magazine, and so it's not been such a good transition. But I think with multi-screen, we have an opportunity to really make this a great experience, both in terms of business as well as the quality of design. And I've got a couple of print issues here so you can see what I'm talking about. I've got Wired Magazine, and this is National Geographic. And let's take a look at some of the articles in here. So with Wired Magazine, you can see I've got some layouts, some highly designed text and graphics integrated with each other here. I can flip around and you can see some very much Wired Magazine-oriented content here. And when we look at the layout of something like this, that's very Wired. Now, when we look at National Geographic, obviously the covers are very different, the paper feel is very different, and the content is very different. If I flip through this magazine, that is National Geographic. That's totally different than the experience of a Wired magazine. Now, they're both unique, they're both great in their own ways, but they're unmistakably different. However, if you look at the experience of these two magazines on the web today, they're not as differentiated. So here we have Wired Magazine and National Geographic, which I was just looking at in print there. And you can see, of course, their brands are strong on their web page, on the front page. But when I go into one of these stories here, you can see it's a story here about robots. And I'll go into a story on National Geographic and a story about lighting breakthroughs. Now, when we're looking at these two websites, it's very difficult to actually tell the magazines apart now. These look virtually identical. It's the same kind of layout, the same kind of similar font usage, the same kind of rendering, of collimation. This is something that really you have a lot of challenges rendering these things in a way that they are very different. And that's due to some degree, the level of expressiveness that you can get with HTML right now. Now that's improving, and we're going to be able to do a lot more. But right now, wrapping text around graphics, for example, is challenging. Font control isn't there for many people right now. Generally, typographic control that you have in magazines isn't quite there yet. And so you're left with undifferentiated websites. However, when you bring the experience into the digital world and you start looking at tablets in particular, you can really make a much larger impact with your magazine. And we've been working with a number of publishers on this already. And one in particular we've been working with is Martha Stewart Living. They have a 20th anniversary issue coming out, and we've been working together with the team at Martha Stewart. And we actually are fortunate to have with us here at Max today, Martha herself has joined us here at Max. So please welcome Martha Stewart.
How are you?
Hi, Martha.
How are you doing?
Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I see you brought your camera to take some photos.
I did. I have to take one of the audience.
Okay. Excellent. Of course.
For my blog. They'll be very disappointed if I don't take one.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, that's better. Oh, good. Thanks for the light.
All right.
Excellent.
The house is full.
So this is so exciting, Kevin. I am so thrilled to be able to show this here first.
I'm excited to have you here.
Yes.
So let's look at what we've been doing here with your magazine.
I'm doing your job.
I really appreciate that. You're much more experienced with the staging than I am, so I appreciate that.
So this is the cover. Now, Martha Stewart Living is known for its fine imagery, its beautiful photography, its very inspiring content. And this, when I first saw the tablet, and we actually were privy in the early stages to the Wired process with you.
Right.
And when I saw that, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is it. We have to do that."
Yeah.
So set a small team in place with Gail Towie and Eric Pike, our two fantastic creative directors, and built I think a really interesting, interactive, very beautiful magazine.
Yeah.